Hello and welcome to Life Beyond Repair, a community for those who have ever felt broken, lost or unable to go on. Here you will find a series of inspirational interviews with incredible individuals, people who have brought themselves back from the brink and are now sharing their stories to empower others. Join us here and across all social media platforms as we prove that there is in fact life beyond repair. Hello and welcome to this episode of Life Beyond Repair. Today's guest is Dave Scholes. Welcome, Dave.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. And you?
Yes, very well, thank you. Dave, do you want to start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, what you do?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm Dave, Burnley born and bred, and at the start of this year, so back in February 2020, we set up a social enterprise called Mindsight, really with the idea that we wanted to change the thought process and how people look at supporting themselves and supporting each other in all aspects of well-being and mental health. So that was within the workplace, but also within the charitable sector, education, and just in life as a general, really.
Amazing. So what kind of led you there?
Wow. Well, I've worked in the charitable sector for many years. I mean, I set up a creative design business 15 years ago, so very different to what I'm doing now. That led me into the charitable sector when a friend set up a charity wanting a bit of support with marketing and promotion. Got involved and really loved the kind of caring side of it, the actual delivery and the client work, and ended up for many years having this very strange world of having a creative design business, but also delivering some projects in and around supporting primarily men, kind of 18 plus males through sport as a bit of a hook, but actually on a personal development program. And these guys were coming in from kind of, prison release backgrounds, drug and alcohol abuse backgrounds. So some really tough stuff. And I just loved it, just really got involved with that. And I lost my best pal to suicide 9 years ago. And again, my journey to Mindsight has been very much around my own personal journey, really navigating a lot of the things that brought up in me and things that I had to deal with, but also the benefit, I guess, of helping other people out really helped me out. And I thought, actually, do you know what? There's a real power in this support network of, I'm not an expert, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a trained counsellor, but my story actually is quite valuable from an experience point of view that other people may never have had. And I thought, actually, there's probably power in a lot of people's stories. So yeah, that's pretty much Mindsight. That's what we're looking to do. Flip the focus on mental health is our approach.
Fantastic. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about your your recovery journey from losing your friend? What kind of things helped you to come to terms with that?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It probably took me about 3 years, I think, to really deal with the grief element. And I didn't. It wasn't like I was battling it constantly. I probably didn't realize what I was dealing with. Mindsight, the business has come on the back of hindsight being my biggest issue. So for many years, I blamed myself for not being able to save my mate, for not having the right conversation, for not doing what I thought I should have done at certain times. And my journey through a lot of professional support, but also having mates that just kind of stuck an arm around me and went, look, Dave, I don't know what you're going through, but let's have a brew, let's have a pint. I'm here for you, whatever that looks like. And that balance between the professional support and the balance between having great family and great friends, which I was really fortunate to have, I kind of worked on this journey where probably 3 years in, I just had carried so much. I just went, I can't do this anymore. I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from that point of view, that from that stage, although it was, it wasn't an overnight fix, I realized that I was moving from something that had been really negative, the hindsight stuff, into something that was actually, one step in front of the other. Some stuff went brilliantly, some stuff didn't, and kind of got back on the horse and rode again. And that's the whole thing where mindsight came from. Got to a point of going, actually, looking back now, me just being there for my pal when he needed it, without trying to fix anything, just being his mate, actually was what he needed at the time. I had this realization of going, you know what, I couldn't fix it. Whatever I'd have done, he was having all the right care, the right support around him. The more I learned about kind of mental health and well-being, the more I realized that everything he was doing was right, but it was clinical. It was, he was really poorly. And what I did as me was probably what he needed on those days. When I saw him at weddings and having a great day was what he needed. Mm-hmm. And I think when I realized that for myself, with the help of other people, I thought, actually, yeah, that's really powerful. I need to do something with this mm-hmm. to help other people. There's got to be a legacy out of that horrible situation. I think for me, having that positive focus really changed an awful lot for me, definitely.
Fab. So what advice would you give to somebody who is perhaps supporting a mate who's struggling?
I think my initial is be kind to yourself and look after yourself. I realise a lot. I take on a lot, and it's a strength and it's a weakness at the same time. I've gone into the whole kind of well-being industry, for want of a better word, because I genuinely want to save the world. I want to help everybody, and it's heart. It'll always be driven by heart. I want a successful business so I can help more people. That's it. And I think what I've realised in that is that I've got to be okay to distribute my care and support for other people. Yeah. And even if the people that I'm helping are struggling, I can still get wins. I can still celebrate my successes, even though somebody else is maybe not having such a great time. Being genuine, being honest, talking openly, and the power of the arm round is massive. The mindset ethos is you don't have to be an expert to help somebody. You need to know where the experts are, of course you do, and you need to know where you have to hand over the support reins to somebody else. But that doesn't mean that you stop being the arm round. And I think that's what I learned. Some things, my first experience with a doctor, he told me because I loved snowboarding and liked football, I should go and enjoy my life. And that was me walking into a doctor's surgery saying that I was feeling anxious and I was struggling getting up in the morning. And that was just the wrong advice, obviously, but by the person that I thought was going to fix me. And I walked out of that doctor's surgery with the expectation that I'd be okay. And I wasn't. Now, I went back into brilliant friends and family that kind of went, actually, do you know what? It might have just been a bad day. It might have just been the wrong doctor at the wrong time. Mm-hmm. So, one size doesn't fit all. Sometimes the things that you try that you think will be the solution may not be. And it's just having that support. We talk about having these connections at Mindsight, having people around you, your team, your backup, the Avengers, however you want to look at it. I need people around me to give me a cuddle. I also need them to give me a kick up the backside. And some just to say, do you know what, Dave, you're doing okay. This is really good. Even when I can't see it and my head's telling me something else. And those people around you are massive. And I think that's my biggest thing. Get a good backup team, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So how does Mindsight help to create those connections, that community?
It's been a really interesting few months for Mindsight, as it has been for many, many businesses. So I kind of came up with the idea that I was going to do this back in October of 2019. Kind of finished a lot of the stuff that I was doing in the charitable sector and planned to almost get everything out of my head into something and try and shape it and all this kind of thing. And we did that for 6 months. And the idea was that we'd go into the workplace, and simply because that's where a lot of people gathered. You know, it's not workplace wellbeing. That's 100% not what we do. But I thought, you know, people will be in a space at the same time. I wanted things to be delivered face to face. I thought that was a really important thing. We wrote this really nice program that covered a lot of stuff around culture change and sustainability, and not being about training one person, but about people taking responsibility and creating good environments and all this kind of stuff around prevention. And we set up the business at the end of February, ready to launch in March. And that didn't go quite according to plan, as it didn't for many people. And in all honesty, I had 2 weeks of really struggling with it. You know, I was watching everybody else that had all their digital tech set up, and we were always going to do that, but it wasn't ready. I was watching all the top 5 tips appearing for how I should be working from home. And I couldn't get away from this thing that I felt I was put on the planet to do had just been taken away from me through no fault of my own. And slowly I just realised, I thought, actually, do you know what? These top 5 tips that are popping out aren't necessarily relevant for me. How does somebody know how I'm doing on a Monday, and then it might be different on a Wednesday? And the landscape was changing so quickly. I thought, maybe we just need to start asking some questions rather than assuming what the answers were. I knew I couldn't go into the workplace, but I knew, and I guess I put my marketing hat on a little bit, I knew we could tell people around the heart and the culture of why Mindsight had set up. So kind of went back to this idea of sitting with a mate over a beer and a coffee and getting a lot of support. I thought, I wonder if that'd work. So we came up with this thing called Roast and Toast, really simply. So every Wednesday morning, the idea was that we'd just do an hour where we invited people into what I can only describe as a virtual coffee morning. Thought, right, we'll come in, we'll have a brew, and maybe just have some conversation around how people are doing on that particular day of that particular week. So I did the first session and effectively did this. I told my story. I thought, right, if I'm going to do this, I've got to give people license to tell their story by me throwing everything out there. And I thought it'd last for 3 or 4 weeks, and 30 odd weeks on, we've created this incredibly brilliant space that is less about us, where people are just coming in and sharing their stories. You know, there's no labels, no titles. It's very much come as you are. We've had everything from doctors to wellbeing experts sat alongside graduates. We had a marketing lady from QVC Shopping Channel in last week. But all these people with a story where, you know, the graduate story is as relevant as the doctor's story, because nobody's coming in going, right, I'm a doctor and I'm a wellbeing expert. They're actually just coming in with stories and honest experiences and support for other people. So it's shaped everything that we've done. You know, what we will now put into the workplace and into education and stuff is different because of Roast and Toast, because of the genuine nature of it being culture change. You know, people have turned around and said, it's the only thing I put in the diary in the week. And it's the only thing, you know, it's changed my business, it's changed my relationships. I'm going, has it? I just thought it was this coffee morning thing that we've done. And we wanted it to be different. You know, we talk about Mindsight as well-being with the swagger of the Gallagher brothers, which I know is a bit weird, but we wanted to do something that was more than just educating head, rather than just book space. We know how tough it is to say you're not doing okay. And we know how tough it is to say to somebody else, look, I'm here for you, whatever that looks like. So we wanted to create these events every week where it wasn't, you know, this week we're not going to talk about anxiety. We'll talk about, you know, being less Lion from The Wizard of Oz and being more Liam Gallagher from Oasis. And people are coming in and going, what's that all about? And actually, it's just about courage and having the courage to say to somebody, I'm not doing okay. And people are coming in and relaxing with that. But, you know, we're giving, you know, a few hints and tips, but it's not us saying these are our top 6. They're coming from the people in the room, and other people are giving everybody else license to not be okay, and license to experience from their journey and some things they tried that worked and didn't work, alongside knowing where all the experts are if things do need to go to a stage where somebody needs some professional support.
Yeah.
So it's been brilliant. It's been so good.
Sounds fantastic. So where would you like this to go? What's the vision for Mindsight?
Wow. A lot of people tell me I need to stop coming up with ideas, because it does it changes my genuine vision for Mindsight, and I do talk about this saving the world thing, and it does sound a bit blasé, but that's genuinely what I want to do. If it gets any smaller than that, it's not big enough. Now, that's not me saying that I'm going to go and do that. I know I can't. It's about partnership. It's about relationship. You know, we, in the development of Mindsight and where it was going, kind of developed this thing that we call the 6 connections of care. The idea being that every time we do Roast and Toast, every time we have a conversation like this, we encourage people to go and have 6 positive conversations with friends or family in and around maybe something that they've learned from us, or maybe to say to 6 people, look, if I'm not doing okay, can I come and speak to you about it? Or at the same time say to other people, look, if you're not okay, I'm here for you. And we figure that if those 6 people go and speak to another 6 people, who go and speak to another 6 people, we'll actually start to make an impact into saving the world. Absolutely. So that's the heart of what we do. That's where it sits. We have this great program that we want to deliver into the workplace next year, as and when we're allowed. We don't know what that's going to look like, how that will look. So we're also trying to look at things of going, right, okay, if the landscape of work has changed, then we need to get to the people that need the support. So it may well be that next year, actually, the managing director who's thinking about the finance of a business might not want to invest in his staff. And it might not be that, the MD, she doesn't struggle with mental health. It's not on her radar, but there's 50 people underneath us. So we've gone, right, okay, we can't just rely on one person's decision to be our route into helping people. Mm-hmm. So we're in the process of developing a digital app which will help people. We're looking at all sorts of different routes into, the success of Roast and Toast has been normal conversation. So 2021 will be all around how do we get this message into coffee shops and bars and nightclubs and restaurants and wherever people are eventually allowed to gather. Mm-hmm. That's what we're going to do. My story is basically a lad from Birmingham that wants to help people. So I'm going, right, that's probably niche. That's my special move. So where would I go to have a normal conversation? That's where we're going to put Mindsight, and that's the vision. Whatever that looks like, I don't know yet, but yeah, next year could be quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So how can people find out more about you? Where do they go?
Cool. So our website is mindsight.org.uk. We're all about connection. So all our social media is Mindsight Connect. So that's LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. If somebody wants to contact us via email, it's just connect@mindsight.org.uk.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Thank you.